Alright, what is this? This is a Game Boy that you could build with 0 Game Boy parts. That probably sounds a little crazy, but I'll get into it here. Initially, this kind of started off with me making a Game Boy with my own motherboards. I got tired of having burnt out motherboards and having to buy broken Game Boys and take motherboards out of them in order to repair them. So I recreated the original Game Boy motherboard. After making this project, I kind of wanted to see if I could make a up-to-date version that used more SMD components and components that you couldn't find. For example, this power switch you cannot find without reclaiming that from another Game Boy. This power jack you can't get without reclaiming from another Game Boy. This amplifier chip, same deal. Pretty much everything else you can get either in a modern equivalent or through AliExpress or something like that. All the battery terminals, cartridge connector, potentiometer, the link port you can get 3 of them off of one of these guys. But essentially, I figured if I could find a replacement for these main components here, I could make something from scratch. The CPU and the RAM you can get from a Super Game Boy, so you don't even need a Game Boy for those. The benefit of using those is you get a faster boot up time. You can skip the logo coming down. Anyway, put that aside and show you what's inside this. Okay, the first thing you might notice is that I have the speakers not going to the front motherboard anymore. The main reason for that is the type of amplifier that I chose, but I'll get into that a little bit more later. This is just a standard Q5 IPS motherboard and screen on this side here. So this you can already get, and funny plain speaker. Over on this side though, here's where things get a little crazy. This connector here, the original one, you can't get anymore, but this is one that you can get off of AliExpress. This audio board here is basically just like the original, with the exception of this audio jack here is one that I found on DigiKey that has a isolated switch in it. So, as you can see, not using the original power jack, but it lines up perfectly. This is a switch I found off DigiKey. And what else we got here? All SMD components. So that's about it. Here's that amplifier that I picked. I basically went through a whole mess of them listed on DigiKey. Found ones that had a headphone amp and a speaker amp, and narrowed it down to this one. It's like an LM4853 or something like that. It was a pretty popular one on DigiKey, so I went with that. That's about it, though. Seems to work pretty good. I don't know. For the power, I'm just basically using a little 5-volt buck converter off the shelf. Works great. Don't need any of the original negative 18 volt or whatever, because the new screen doesn't require that. Anyway, hope you enjoy.